Now in my town there is no good engineering university.
How did this made into realization कि मुझे अब सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपमेंट इंडस्ट्री में जाना है या सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियरिंग इज वन वे वेयर आई कुड गो?
Girl life, which is very common in towns. They get married very soon and then they start their family and all that stuff.
आपने एचआर को रीच किया था, वाज इट समथिंग लाइक अ रेफरल? आपने करियर पेज पे अप्लाई किया था? हाउ वाज दैट स्टोरी?
There you will face a distinction between engineering and MCA graduate people. Don't have any issue with that thing.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, The Sarthak Show, where we discuss about tech, career, product and life. And today we have a very special guest with us, Shivani. She is working as a software engineer at ShareChat. And today we will learn how her story of becoming a software engineer looks like, what she did in her college years. And since she is coming from an MCA background, how you can make that transition where you are coming from that background towards the software development industry or any other industry. What are the different hurdles that you can expect to face, and how she passed through them, how she was able to crack such amazing opportunities. So we will learn all about that. Thank you so much, Shivani, for joining in this podcast. Can you share a little bit about your professional story?
Firstly, thank you so much, Sarthak, for inviting me. It's my pleasure to be here on your channel. So I'm Shivani. I'm currently working as a software engineer at ShareChat. Before that, I was working at Tokopedia as a software engineer back at Tokopedia, Go-To Group. And I am a 2021 graduate from MIT Pune. So I've done MCA, and before that, I pursued BCA, and that's my brief introduction.
Yeah, I think interesting. So since you mentioned that you have done BCA and MCA, and then you made your first break at Tokopedia. So how was your journey, and what made you decide that you should want to pursue go into the side of BCA or MCA?
Okay, so it was not very this time. I was always sure that I wanted to pursue engineering only. So when I was doing my 11th and 12th, I was I belong to a tier three town, so there is no IIT JEE preparation institute at my place.
Mhm.
But I was like कि I would try to go to either a private college. That would also be fine for me,
Mhm.
because dreams though time that time wasn't that big. So I was like engineering from a private institute would also do, because of the lack of awareness, obviously.
Uh-huh.
So after 12th standard, I take the JEE exams, main one, but obviously I was not prepared, so the scores were not up to the mark. So yeah, I just gave it in a try, that I just will give a try and see where I'm standing.
Uh-huh.
So that's how I took the first challenge, and then I got enrolled to a private university, which is nearby to my town.
Okay.
But I got enrolled to that, and later in 7 days I had to come back because of some reasons.
Mhm.
So I came back home. Now in my town there is no good engineering university.
Mhm.
So later my family decided for me that because you want to do something in a computer's background, let's get yourself enrolled in the BCA now.
Okay.
So there's one college which in my area where I have completed my BCA from.
Mhm.
So I almost for the 2 years, in the initial 2.5 years, I didn't do much.
Okay.
There's no awareness about anything. So we were just giving exams of universities at the end of the year, and we were just passing that, and it was all also like this. So in the third year, I realized like it's too much of fun. I want to do something in my life. I don't want to just make my life a normal girl life, which is very common in towns.
Mhm.
They get married very soon and then they start their family and all that stuff. So I don't want it to go to that. So
Mhm.
I thought, like, let's do something different, and the dream was there that I want to do something big, but I didn't know how to achieve that.
Uh-huh.
So that's how in one of my senior in my BC only, she was doing MSc IT from Dhirubhai Ambani College, which is in Ahmedabad, Gandhinagar, I guess.
Okay.
So she I guess taken some tests and she got enrolled into the course,
Mhm.
and that is also a good college, I would say. And for that, you have to clear some exams as well.
Okay.
So for preparation of those exams, I got a bit idea from her, and then she get herself enrolled in Ahmedabad, where a
Mhm.
coaching institute was there, where she was preparing for these exams,
Mhm.
tests. So I also got inquired about this, and I got to know that this is the place where you can study and prepare for competitive exams, uh, other than obviously JEE and all. So then I also, my thought was limited to that. I also want to go there and do MSCIT from
Mhm.
Tiruvayamani College.
Okay.
So for that thing, I moved to Ahmedabad. Then I started preparing for those competitive exams for a couple of months. Then I took my GMAT. No, I took my GMAT test. Sorry, I took my CMAT test,
Okay.
and CMAT is for both MBA and MCA participants.
Okay.
So from there, you can get a college overall India for MCA.
Mhm.
So I took my CMAT test. The score was decent enough. Then I got to know that Maharashtra has this specialized exam for MCA candidates.
Okay.
Uh, so I took that exam, and I got to know that I have got all India rank 29 in it.
Oh.
So I was very excited that time, and thought of, moving to Maharashtra for my higher studies
Uh-huh.
for masters. So that's how my journey started from for MCA. Then I inquired about some colleges in Mumbai and Pune, but I was more inclined towards going to Pune because it's
Okay.
it's a bit peaceful city comparatively. So, and there were few confusions in my mind, like which college to enroll in Pune and all that stuff. But
Mhm.
later on, I talked to few people on LinkedIn, and few people who were there in my connections. So yeah, that's how I got myself enrolled in MIT Pune,
Okay.
and so it was a 3 years MCA program, and yeah, that's how all it started.
I think interesting journey where you made this transition and personally मुझे भी ऐसा लगता है कि मैं थर्ड ईयर तक काफ़ी कंफ्यूज था कि मुझे क्या करना है लाइफ में. आई वॉज एंजॉइंग टू मच एट द कॉलेज बट फिर वो फन के साथ रियलाइजेशन धीरे धीरे आ जाता है कि अब कुछ सीरियस होने का टाइम आ गया है. यू आर सीइंग कि आपके पीयर्स
Exactly.
कुछ कुछ कर रहे हैं, दे आर स्टार्टिंग समथिंग न्यू. तो उस सिनेरियो में जनरली आई ऑल्सो रीच आउट टू माई सीनियर विच इज़ द सेम स्टोरी एज योर्स. एंड आई फील वो जो गाइडेंस उस मोमेंट पे मिलती है, इफ़ यू यूज़ दैट तो वो काफ़ी हेल्पफुल हो सकती है. एंड आई थिंक दैट इज़ द सेम विद यू. सो
Yeah.
आपने वो
Okay.
ट्रांजिशन करा जो मतलब आई थिंक काफ़ी हेल्पफुल था उस फेज़ में कि बीसीए से एमसीए करने का डिसाइड करा एंड देन कॉलेज एट पुणे. सो एमसीए का एक्सपीरियंस ओवरऑल कैसा था, हाउ आर थिंग्स ओवर देयर, और हाउ डिड दिस मेड इनटू रियलाइजेशन कि मुझे अब सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपमेंट इंडस्ट्री में जाना है या सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियरिंग इज वन वे वेयर आई कुड गो.
Yeah, the thought was always there when I think starting from class 7 or 8. I always wanted to become a software engineer, and my dream was I wanted to become a software engineer at Google only. There
अच्छा.
was no other company. Always used to think like I want to be a software engineer because there are a few cousins of mine who are working in Google,
Mhm.
US, and because they were doing it, I also wanted to do that. That I want to do software engineer from Google. I want to be that.
Uh-huh.
But later on, with I would say time, I realized that it's not always. You shouldn't make a company as a dream. It should, like, your journey should define where you should go next.
Okay.
So I always think that way. So even if Google is dream for many of us, but I think it's always important to enjoy the journey that you're facing in between.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I did that only, and then with respect to MCA journey, I would say it was not at all easy
Mhm.
because my college had, because it was a private institute, it had around 90% of attendance issue.
Okay.
And I used to study I used to start my study at 8 because my college was from morning 8 to 4. Whenever I get, by 5, I would get to reach my home, and
Mhm.
then I start. I take some rest, and then I go to gym, and then I make my food, and then I start. Uh, I mean my studies. So at 8 in the evening, around 8 or 8:30, I would start my studies, and at till 2:30 or 3 sometimes I would study, and that was my whole schedule for around 8 9 months before COVID. That is before COVID, because
Okay.
there was no leaves that we would be getting in bulk. So I
Mm-hmm.
have to be very sure of where I'm spending my time with.
Okay.
So because of that, sometimes I also felt sick very frequently, because my schedule, I was sleeping only 3 4 5 hours a
Uh-huh.
day. And yeah, but I was enjoying that journey. And yeah, so and also the exams, we had a trimester system. So we used to have had 3 trimester, and then before after that we have a summer internship, mandatory summer internship. So it was very hectic, and it was very difficult to study your things, because college teach you generalized subject which you don't actually want every time.
Okay.
So there are so many things that college teaches, but what you want to do is you want to specialize in some things.
Mm-hmm.
And CP was not there at all. DSA was not there at all. DSA, there was a formal subject, but when we talk about interview preparation, it was not at all there.
Uh-huh.
So I used to study by myself, and yeah. So this was the whole schedule, and this is how MCA went. So one advice I would really want to really want to give people here is, if you are enrolling for the MCA program, be sure of two things. Either your college should be tier 1, so that they can support your placements, or either it should be tier 3 or tier 4, tier 5.
Mm-hmm.
There's no tier 4, tier 5, but yeah, where at least attendance is not mandatory, where
Okay.
you can be yourself, you can study whatever you want to study. But yeah, at the same time, you have to be self motivated for that part as well, because
Mm-hmm.
many of my friends were not aware of these things, and they were enjoying life like just like BCA. So they used to always complain to me, like, why don't you enjoy life? You are in Pune now, so why don't you go to clubs and party and all those stuff? And I used to clearly say that, like, this is not my priority at the moment. Whenever right time will come, I'll go and enjoy,
Mm-hmm.
and God will give me enough time to do that. I'm hoping that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my answer to them, and they used to always complain to me. And initially, they used to call me for parties and for outings, but then because they knew my answer, like I would say no to them, then they refused to ask me as well, because they know she will not be coming to us with us. So I would always suggest that, yeah, either go to tier 1 university which supports your placement, or either go to universities which doesn't have any barrier in exams or in terms of attendance. So yeah, that's my only suggestion.
Yeah, I think very interesting advice over here. क्योंकि I also feel that somewhere मेरे को अगर attendance का issue होता तो शायद मैं उतना explore नहीं कर पाता. I also did 1 year of internship just because मेरा attendance was somewhat chill. तो उस sense में I recommend कि attendance वाला issue is very big issue that all of my
Yeah.
friends also faced. And personally जितना rigor चाहिए होता है, I see that you had that rigor, you had that training, and those exhaustive schedules की उतनी मेहनत करनी है उतना reach करने के लिए. And it's hard because going out or chilling is something which is very tempting, but उसको resist करके
Yeah.
घर पे पढ़ाई करना काफ़ी मुश्किल है. So kudos to you. But I think now the stage has been very good for you to do everything that you wanted to. But how this transition happened? How did you get your first break? क्योंकि generally the recruiters or the teams are looking for engineering candidates. So how from your MCA background you got a software engineering profile? आपने HR को reach किया था, or was it something like a referral? आपने career page पे apply किया था? How was that story?
Yeah. So before that, I just wanted to mention that I got my 6 months internship from my college only. So I was doing my internship as an IT intern in Veritas Technologies.
Okay.
So I got a PPO from there, and because I was working in IT department, I later realized that this is not for me. And when I just entered, I didn't have much information about it when I just entered my internship. So later, after some time, I talked to the HR in the same company that I want to switch to engineering department because
Mhm.
I want to be a core software engineer, not I don't want to be in IT department.
Mhm.
So they took my interview because that was an internal transfer. They took my interview, and there was just one interview, which is mainly focused on DSA, and I cracked it, and they offered me a software engineering role.
Okay.
So this was the role that I had just after finishing my college.
Mhm.
Now, because I wanted to switch to product-based firms, I simultaneously was reaching out to people on LinkedIn, few of my connections or personal connections as well, if they have any opening in their companies.
Right.
So there is one relative of mine who was working in Tokopedia, and he referred me in his firm, and that's how. So after, what happens is mostly, yeah, there you will face a distinction between engineering and MCA graduate people, but few companies I think don't are not very I would say don't have any issue with that thing.
Mhm.
So they just take your general interviews like they take from engineering background people, and
Mhm.
if you clear them, you they will offer you the role. So fortunately for Tokopedia as well, I got the same kind of interview level as engineering experience,
Mhm.
and I cleared that interview, and I got my first job at Tokopedia.
Okay.
So simultaneously, I was applying to other companies because software engineering is a domain in which you have to be apply because you're not sure about what would be the consequences of interviews. You have to apply to many companies at the same time. So I was applying to many companies, but yeah, because I was a fresher, because I'm from MCA, my resume was not getting selected.
Mhm.
But fortunately, yeah, I got the first break in Tokopedia, and after that, yeah, when I decided to move to uh, my second stint, yeah, it was not very difficult because it was just like a general interview process, similar to job hiring, similar to other people. Because first break is always very difficult, but then after that, things became a bit easy
Correct.
for anyone.
Yeah, I think that is so true because starting में friction feel होता है. Starting में you have that so many barriers. Recruiters are reluctant because you don't have experience. या फिर they are
Yeah,
reluctant because your background does not support it. And the field that I am in, तो मुझे भी ऐसा होता है कि जब मुझे recruiters reach out करते हैं, अगर I don't have an MBA degree, they ask me कि ओ अच्छा आपके पास MBA नहीं है. So I think in a way we also feel the same way कि you have to come from engineering background, you have to have the relevant set of skills.
yeah,
That is something I definitely agree. And all the audience who are listening in, if you don't have the right skills or if you don't feel that you have enough things that are able to crack for the course, as in for the interview process, then you can enroll into Newton School's full stack development course, from where we use they teach you from scratch and teach you everything about the full stack development part of it in the MERN stack, and you can learn a lot of different things how which are required for a company to work at, and you can check that out in the linked in the description box below. So you can know all the details about it, and the best part of that is it's a zero upfront fee course, so you don't have to pay anything before you get an offer letter from your company. So it's a placement course itself, so you have to learn and then you get a job at the company. So check out the link in the description box below. uh, and as Shwani mentioned, I think the first job is difficult, but things post that becomes slightly easier because you have some experience to showcase. So yeah. So as I was asking, like, how was the process from moving from Tokopedia to ShareChat? Uh, आपने कैसे अप्लाई किया एंड अगेन कैसा इंटरव्यू प्रोसेस था एंड हाउ what are the learnings so far?
yeah. So when I thought of applying to Tokopedia, to new company after Tokopedia, so I got an offer. Initially, I from LinkedIn itself, I got a post that this company is hiring, and I took the interview. That was what from one of the leading startup, and I took the interview and I cleared it. So I had the offer. Then I went to notice period. So my notice period was of 2 months. So so that's how it started, and then I started applying to other companies just for the safety purpose, because market is having a lot of ups and downs. So
Mm-hmm.
just for the safety purpose, I thought of applying to multiple companies, because I wanted to gather few more offers.
Uh-huh.
So so then later on in my notice period only, I got a chance to apply to Expedia, Nutanix. I took the interviews as well. There were hiccups that I didn't get the offer from them, but later on I applied to ShareChat previously from one of my friend who referred me. I got to know from the HR before scheduling of the first round in ShareChat. I got to know that the position has been closed and we are not hiring for SD1 backend role.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, this is not the right time to go to ShareChat. And later, after 7 or 10 days, I would say, the recruiter again shared a form on that we have again opened a position for a different team. If you want to apply, you can still apply.
Okay.
So I just filled the form, and yeah, I took the interviews. And at the same time, I was giving interviews for a few more companies like Denzo. I was having my Amazon's interviews as well.
Okay.
So these 3 4 companies I'm simultaneously giving my interviews with. So yeah, I got offer from all of them. ShareChat, it was around there was around three interviews, in which first 2 were mainly focused on DSA and low level design,
Mm-hmm.
and the third one was kind of a bar raiser, where we have a mixed kind of questions related to tech, related to previous work, related to how behavioral. There were some behavioral questions as well.
Okay.
So yeah, there were 3 rounds, and yeah, that's how I got the break into ShareChat. You know.
Yeah, interesting journey, and I think you have rightly been to a place where you will start enjoying. And congratulations on cracking ShareChat and working at their place. I hope this journey also
Sure.
brings some new learnings, new gifts on your career path and your personal professional lives as well. So yeah, I think that's all the list of questions that we have today for the podcast. I really enjoyed this conversation and loved and learned a lot of things from this podcast itself. Anything special that you would like to mention as a resource, or any special things that you did you would like to recommend the audience for that?
Yeah, on typical basis, I get a lot of questions around how to prepare and how to, crack these kind of interviews. So I would suggest to, I would say there are plethora of resources. So what you have to do, that I suggest to everyone, that instead of, becoming a part of this FOMO culture, decide yourself for you that what content creator, what instructor, what course, what piece of content is more apt for you. So
Uh-huh.
do a research on that. Make a list of topics that you want to study, make a syllabus for yourself, make a timeline for yourself that want to devote this much time uh, to this topic.
Mm-hmm.
And people on LinkedIn are really very helpful. Fortunately for me, my journey has been only because of people I am connected with on LinkedIn.
Okay.
So it's very important to stay in touch with such great people from where you can learn. So always stay active, always be hungry to learn, always post whatever you have learned, so that people also know that you are into this domain. And it's always good to just highlight your skills on LinkedIn, because that is a perfect platform for this kind of stuff.
Right.
So also, yeah, don't be a part of FOMO culture. Just make sure that you are studying from wherever you're studying. You are giving it your 100%, and
Mm-hmm.
it's always like there would be ups and downs, because that is not an easy journey if you are from non-engineering background. But yeah, if you work really hard, it's no distinction. Market is always open for good engineers,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll have your share of learnings and journey in the
Yeah,
market.
I think that's very rightly mentioned, and uh, definitely you should hustle more, reach out to more people, connect on LinkedIn, share your learnings with the people. And for the folks who are listening in, if you want to reach out to Shivani, I will put her LinkedIn link in the description box below as well, so you can check that out below the like button. She and you can reach out to her. She is a very humble person. And if you have any other questions or things that you would like to mention in the comment box below, I would be happy to answer them in the next video. Thank you so much, Shivani, for taking out time for this podcast. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, audience, till then, take care. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.